You're watching the RunFrit YouTube channel, and I'm Finlay McAndrew. I'm the Training and Development Manager at RunFrit, and I've worked for the business for over 10 years, so I absolutely love talking about running shoes. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Nike ZoomX Invincible Run Flyknit 3 and doing a full review of how it feels and how it performs. Hope you enjoy it. The entire midsole is made from Nike Superfoam material ZoomX foam. This is both incredibly soft and energy returning. Unlike the Alphafly and Vaporfly, it does not feature a carbon fibre plate. The cushioning is technically the same as the first two editions, but there's more ZoomX foam, and previous wearers will notice a new midsole design. As ZoomX foam is so soft, it can feel unstable. In fact, one of the key reasons a carbon plate is added to models such as the Alphafly and Vaporfly is to add stability to the foam. While many runners loved the first two editions of the Invincible Run, a lot found it unstable. New midsole sculpting is designed to create a more stable feel and better underfoot stability. It also has a smaller heel clip than before, but it's placed in a more precise position to create better support. The foam was designed to press and rock at the same time, while the concave shape creates a rocker-like sensation and is designed to improve forward momentum. The midsole is covered in a high abrasion rubber that protects the soft ZoomX foam and improves grip. While the outsole is slightly different from the previous version, there are no notable differences. The new Flyknit upper is lighter and less bulky than before, however, it has embedded cables of yarn called Flywire integrated into the upper to provide more support. The heel counter is noticeably more streamlined, but has padding inserted around where the ankle sits. So, how do they feel to run in? Well, I've run 439 kilometres in mine now, so I'm in a pretty good position to give an honest review of how they're feeling. I was a big fan of the first two Invincible runs and did a lot of miles in them, but like other runners, I did find them a little bit unstable under my feet at times. So I was really keen to see if Nike had solved that problem with this new midsole sculpting and make them a little bit more stable and supportive under the foot. Really pleased to say that that's, I think, definitely what they've achieved. The shoe just feels super cushioned, super bouncy, almost like a trampoline under your feet, but definitely with more stability. The whole shoe just feels like a slightly firmer and more stable platform under your feet. Nike haven't talked too much about it, but there's a new heel clip design around the back of the shoe, and while you don't feel it at all while you're running, if you really look out for it, you can tell that's just giving you some stability, particularly at your heel strike. So that's a really nice addition to the new shoe. I would say you have to watch when you're going around a corner. I have still gone over my ankle a couple of times, not badly, but you just feel your foot going over the shoe. And it's just because you've got so much volume under your shoe and it's such a high stack to the midsole. Now, in terms of pace and running performance, I've been using these for predominantly my slow to steady pace runs. So that's around 440 to 5 minute a kilometre pace. But I've also picked up the speed and done some faster work and some tempo paces around that 345 to 4 minute a kilometre pace, and some faster work again at around about 325 to 330 minute per kilometre pace, really just to see how the shoe would perform as I was going through the gears and some different sessions. Now, on those slow to steady pace miles, it just feels incredible. You don't feel the ground at all under your foot. And on those runs where you really just want to take maximum stress off your legs, this is just one of the best shoes out there. It just feels so cushioned under your foot, but at the same time, you're getting so much energy back from the midsole. The other nice feature of it is that it does have a good bit of a curve to the midsole that we call a rocker. I'd say it's slightly less pronounced than the first model, but it does transition your foot forward and really helps take a little bit of stress off the calf muscles and off the knee. And actually, when I first started running in the Invincible Run, I had a little bit of a calf problem, and that actually disappeared really quickly as soon as I started wearing these. So really pleased about that. If you want to pick up the pace and do some faster work and some tempo efforts, the shoe definitely has the capability of doing that. It gives you that energy return back, and you can pick up the pace for some quicker miles. But what you start to notice as you go faster is you're losing that energy return, that responsiveness that you would get from something with a carbon plate. So shoes such as the Zoomfly, the Vaporfly really just feel completely different from the Invincible Run in that they're so much more responsive under your foot. And that is, I guess, the limitation of the Invincible Run. It can't do everything, but it is definitely what I found one of the best shoes for using over quite a wide spectrum of paces. But really where it excels is those recovery runs, those steady miles, and those long sessions when you just want to take as much load off the muscles as you possibly can. In terms of grip, the outsole is absolutely amazing. It's covered in this really high abrasion rubber, which provides a lot of traction and also a lot of durability under your foot. So really impressed with how that's feeling. That was a really good feature of the first two editions as well. In terms of the upper, there's actually not really that much to talk about, which is a good thing because you just want to forget your feet when you're running in your shoes and not feel that upper at all. I've got quite a broad forefoot, and a lot of runners do. The front of this shoe is pretty accommodating and leaves quite a lot of space for your foot to splay out. So really good option for people if they do have that broader foot shape, but at the same time, you get a really nice midfoot lock, so it will accommodate that slightly narrower midfoot shape as well. In terms of the heel counter, there's been a few reviews out there saying people are finding it tricky to lock the back of the shoe in. And I guess this new Flyknit upper that they've designed here, there's pods that sit in around the ankle bone. And you do just need to take a couple of minutes when you're putting them on to pull those laces in tight and get that locked in around your ankle. Even then, you might find there's a little bit of slipping if you look for it. But when you're on a run, you don't really feel that at all, in my opinion. And you can always use that extra eyelet at the back to make that butterfly loop so it locks it in really nicely around the ankle. But the great feature about this is it really stops any ankle irritation and any friction around the back of your foot. So, how are the ZoomX Invincible runs wearing? Well, part of the reason for doing this review at this stage was to give you a really honest insight into how they feel after quite a bit of running. Now, normally when you get to this stage of the game with a running shoe, the midsole will start to feel like it's not quite as cushioned, not quite as bouncy under your feet. That's not the case with the Invincible Run. These feel just the same as what they did on the first run, which I think is absolutely incredible. When I'm putting these on for my easy runs at the moment and my long miles, when I really want to take maximum stress off my legs, they still feel incredibly cushioned. So this ZoomX midsole material really is pretty impressive in terms of the durability. When it comes to the outsole, we've already talked about how much rubber there is on the bottom of the shoe. And I think the Invincible Run gets a little bit of a hard time because people say it's a bit heavy and it's not as light as it could be. But what seems to be missed is that the outsole rubber is one of the heaviest parts of a running shoe. So when you see running shoes that have very minimal amounts of outsole rubber on them, yes, that makes them incredibly lightweight, but they're not going to last as long. So if you want a shoe which is going to cope with a lot of miles and be really durable, this is one of the things that you're looking for in the features. And so far, this is showing very minimal signs of wear on the bottom. I'm a really heavy heel striker and land quite prominently on the lateral edge, so it's quite common for me to show quite a lot of wear in a shoe after not that many miles, and I'm not even seeing that rubber close to wearing through. So that looks like it's going to be really durable and not break down. And that's the same with the toe box. There's almost no sign of wear at all on the front of the shoe. So far, really durable rubber that's standing up to the test of a lot of pavement running. When it comes to the upper of the shoe, while the white hasn't coped too well with the Scottish spring and start of summer because of the rain, it's not showing any signs of wear at all, which is really great to see. I normally come through the top of the shoe at the toe box like a lot of runners do. My big toe sticks up and there's no marks, no wear, no signs of friction whatsoever on the front of the shoe. So looks like that's really well reinforced, really good structure at the front of the shoe, no creases or splits on the side of the shoe, and nothing around the back of the shoe to talk about in terms of friction or rubbing at the back. You often see people getting that rubbing, those sort of little holes at the back of the shoe, and there's nothing at all there. So overall, the durability of this looks really impressive, and I'd expect these to last a long time, and quite excited to see how many miles that I can put into these. That brings me to the end of this Nike ZoomX Invincible Run Flyknit 3 review. Thanks very much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please make sure and hit that like button and subscribe to see more content like this. See you next time.